Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a Rulings with Auke video. Today I'm going to be explaining the difference between a once per turn effect and a you can only use each effect of name of card once per turn, and how they differ. First, let's just use Zombie Master. It's my turn. No, it's Nitan's turn. I need to actually start my turn. Thank you, forgot to do that. Fail! Anyway, I normal summon Zombie Master. I'm like, I want to special summon a zombie monster from my graveyard, so I activate Zombie Master's effect. What do I have to discard? One monster from my hand to the graveyard. Let's discard that. Then I special summon a zombie. I special summon Mech Mole Zombie. Woo! It worked! Now let's say that through whatever means, Zombie Master is destroyed inside the graveyard. Could be through battle, effect, doesn't matter, it's in the graveyard, still the same turn. Let's say I have something like Mizuki. I banish it to special summon a zombie from the grave, which is Zombie Master. Once again, it's still the same turn that I just used Zombie Master's effect in. I can discard another monster to special summon another zombie, in this case Blue and Silver Zombie. But how is that possible? Zombie Master says once per turn. Well, with an effect like this, once per turn, the effect sort of resets, it forgets that it happened when it leaves the field. So when the effect is fully resolved, in this case I summon Mech Mole Zombie, it's in the graveyard, it's banished, and the same card then returns to the field later the same turn, in this case through Mizuki, I can reuse the effect. Now, how does that differ from, let's say, Uni-Zombie's effect? Let us go figure that out. Let's say I have Uni-Zombie on the field, yeah? Uni-Zombie, has two effects, and at the bottom it reads, you can only use each effect of Uni-Zombie once per turn. It doesn't say once per turn on the effect, but it does say you can only use each effect of Uni-Zombie once per turn, probably to make it clearer and not write once per turn 2 times, because this applies to all of the effects. Okay, so let's say we use both of its effects. You can target one face-up monster on the field, discard a card, and if you do, increase that target level by 1. Okay, I target Uni-Zombie itself, I discard one card, and woo, I can do a thing. It's now level 4, and I can maybe synchro with it because it is a tuner, could do some pretty fancy things. I can also target for some monster on the field. Monster you control cannot attack for the rest of the turn. So zombie to monsters, also send a zombie to monster from deck to grave, and if you do, increase the target's level by 1. But I'm not gonna go over that. I'm not gonna do that one right now. But that doesn't really matter. What matters is this part. You can only use each effect of Uni-Zombie once per turn. So obviously, I can't use the first effect again. Discard a card, increase Uni-Zombie or Zombie Master, whoever's level, by 1 again. Let's say we have the same scenario as before. It's sent to the graveyard through battle, through card effect, or being used as synchro material monster, because that's possible as well. Let's say once again I have that Mizuki in the graveyard. I banish it, summon Uni-Zombie back to the field. Can I then discard, let's say, Kozmo Town, so I can use Uni-Zombie's effect again? No. While it does say, you can only use each effect, and once per turn. Doesn't that mean the exact same thing as the once per turn on Zombie Master? It does not. And I'm going to explain the difference. Zombie Master just says once per turn. That refers to that specific effect. That's it. Refers to that specific effect. Uni-Zombie refers to the name of the card, Uni-Zombie. You can only use the effect of Uni-Zombie once per turn. So that by using that's the first effect of a Uni-Zombie, you pretty much lock yourself, like the player gets locked inside a state in which Uni-Zombie cannot use the effect again. That's pretty much how it works. So that even when Uni-Zombie leaves the field through synchro material, battle destruction, effect destruction, whatever, it leaves the field and the same card comes back, that lock, that restriction that was placed slightly earlier, still applies on that player. So Uni-Zombie cannot use that second effect again. Zombie Master doesn't state that. It doesn't have any you can only use one Zombie Master effect per turn. If it would say that, then that restriction would be placed on the player, and you couldn't use it again if it would be summoned back by, let's say, Mizuki. No kind of restriction or like lock placed on the player by Zombie Master. It is put there by Uni-Zombie. Something extra about Uni-Zombie though, it's a lock on a card name, not a card. It doesn't say you can only use each effect of this Uni-Zombie once per turn. It's Uni-Zombie. So would I have, let's say I synchro summon with this Uni-Zombie, but then I normal summon a second Uni-Zombie that I happen to have in my hand, then I still cannot use any of the effects that I used with the original Uni-Zombie. Because you can only use each effect of Uni-Zombie once per turn. It puts a restriction, it puts a lock on the card name. Any cards with that specific name, so also another copy of Uni-Zombie, cannot use whatever effect the first one did. That's reset at the end of the turn because it says once per turn. But during that turn, it's a lock on everything that's called Uni-Zombie. Now that's pretty much the answer, in the way I feel it, the answer explained. But I'm going to go over a few more things that are related to this. Because Uni-Zombie here, for example, said you can only use each effect of Uni-Zombie once per turn. It has two effects. You can use one, then the second, and then a lock on both. There are also cards that have some attacks like this. You can only use like a certain effect once per turn, and then with card name. But for example, let's take Tempest, Dragon Ruler of Storms. 4 different effects. But this one says you can only use one Tempest, Dragon Ruler of Storms effect per turn, and only once that turn. Once again, just like Uni-Zombie, if I have a second Tempest, that means I cannot use the effect again. Let's say I use Tempest's effect to summon itself from the hand of banishing 2 cards. I can do that, but then the second Tempest can't do that, even if I return this one to the hand. But also, something you have to know, because there's only one effect per turn, and only once per turn. If I play Tempest from my hand by banishing 2 monsters, I've used the Tempest effect. Yeah? If I happen to have a second Tempest in my hand, different card, different copy, and I want to use this discard effect, that doesn't work. Because this card states you can only use one Tempest Dragon Ruler effect, Tempest Dragon Ruler of Storms effect per turn. So that already locks that out. However, it also says, and only once that turn. So even if the second one I would want it to be summoned through the banishing, doesn't work either. Tempest locks you out there. Now, obviously, the Tempest, Uni-Zombie, Zombie Master aren't the only cards with like once per turns or once per card name. That's what I say. It's a once per turn and a once per card name. That's pretty much how I make them differ. There are other cards like it. An interesting thing is Kozmo Farm Girl, because it has one of each. It has a once per turn effect and a once per card name effect. I'll give you an explanation, because this actually has happened to me quite a few times recently. I have Kozmo Farm Girl, yeah? Battle phase. I attack with it. Woohoo. Opponent takes 1200 damage. I'm not going to really bother with that right now because it doesn't really matter. I pay my 500 life points, search for a Kozmo card, and add it to my hand. I forgot to add an extra one in my deck, so I can't do that right now, but let's say I added Forerunner, yeah? So I have Forerunner. I added it to my hand. Then, because I just used Farm Girl's second effect. When this card inflicts you can pay It's not actually once per turn effect, I should say. But even if it said once per turn, it would reset. Because of, let's say I do this. Because I'm going to banish it to summon Forerunner. Forerunner attacks. Let's say then something else happens, which would then allow me, let's just make some space. Something else happens, which lets me summon Farm Girl back to the field, or summon a second Farm Girl. They have another monster in attack position. Let's switch this one. And I attack it. Can I then use the effect again that allows me to pay 500 life points to add a Kozmo card from deck to hand? Yes, because nowhere does it say once per turn or once per card name. Although even if it said once per turn, if this card inflicts battle damage, I could still do it. Because it's a different card. That's something I didn't mention with Zombie Master, and the same applies for Farm Girl. Let's say if you have two Zombie Masters together on the field, one uses its effect. The other can also just use its effect, even if none of them leave the field, because there is no restriction placed on the player. The once per turn, that clause restriction, is only placed on that effect on that specific copy of Zombie Master. If there's a second Zombie Master, it doesn't have that restriction. Same for Farm Girl. If you have two Farm Girls on the field, one of them inflicts battle damage at a Kozmo. If the second one then inflicts battle damage, no problem there. Now, I want to banish it because I happen to have a... Let's fake this one. I have a second Forerunner that I just added. I want to banish it to summon Forerunner. That doesn't work. Because its first effect, during either player's turn you can banish it, supposed to summon a level 4 higher Kozmo from hand. That one says you can only use this effect of Kozmo Farm Girl once per turn. But Auke, it says once per turn. And it left the field, because let's say it was the same Farm Girl from before. But it left the field, so it can use it again, right? No, because this one has the once per card name, like clause restriction thing. What's the official term for that anyway? Anyway, it's the once per card name part of the text. You can only use this effect of Kozmo Farm Girl, and not this card. It's Kozmo Farm Girl once per turn. Therefore, any Farm Girl, whether it's the same or a different one, cannot use that same effect for the rest of the turn. So even if I've added a second Forerunner or Slip Rider or Dark Destroyer or whatever, I cannot banish any Farm Girl for the second time during the same turn to summon something else. Final thing. Kozmo Town. Kozmo Town also has two once per turn effects, and then I'll end it. Kozmo Town has an effect that allows you to get a banished Kozmo monster from back to your hand. So let's say I have Kozmo Farm Girl here, and I return it to my hand with the original effect. Woohoo! Yay! I lose 300 life points because of the first effect. I'm also using its second effect. Reveal any number of Kozmo monsters in your hand, shuffle them into the deck, draw the equal amount of cards you put back. Use that effect, reveal Forerunner, shuffle it back into the deck, and then draw one new card because I shuffled one card in. Now I replace Kozmo Town with a new one. This is still the same phase. One Kozmo Town for the next. So, what now? Can I do anything new? Let's say I've normal summoned Farm Girl and it's banished again. Or there is another Kozmo monster that's banished. I can then again take Farm Girl back, because Kozmo Town's return something to hand effect is a once per turn effect. Nowhere, anywhere in Kozmo Town does it say once per turn you can only use this effect of Kozmo Town once per turn. Nowhere does it have a once per card name clause or twice per card name clause or whatever. No card name clause. It's once per turn. So it leaves the field. The restriction doesn't apply to the second copy of Kozmo Town. And even if the first copy would be somehow returned to my hand and then I play it again, the restriction isn't there anymore because it forgot it happened. Because it only applies to that specific effect of that specific card while it's on the field. As soon as it leaves the field, that restriction's gone. So with this Kozmo Town, I can just add the Farm Girl back to my hand, and also use the second effect again to shuffle something. And draw. I hope that explains something about the once per turn effects, and as I call them, the once per card name effects, like with Uni-Zombie. I do realize that in this video I did quite a lot of things, maybe it's a bit too much, give a bit too much information. So if there's any confusion left or new questions have arisen, if you have any questions at all about anything related to these rulings, please let me know in the comments and I'll do my very best to answer them as clear as possible. In addition, if you have any ruling questions or like certain scenarios in a duel, like how do certain cards interact with each other, that you'd like me to explain in a future Rulings with Auke video, please let me know in the comments, and then I may just get to it in the next video. Alright, This was the video for today. I will see you in the next video. Goodbye!